Alright guys, so I've been wanting to do this for quite a while. I had quite a few people ask me about it, but this is Frozen Valley for all the different winds and wind adjustments. Figured it'd be a good time for it with King of the Course Frozen Valley coming up. Just note, this does not come without risk. If you're going to run this one, then there's a chance that you might end up in the water. But with practice, you can get pretty good at it. Get the eagle quite often, and then if you miss, try to get your misses to the left so you don't have to take a possible par and it's birdie worst case scenario. But this is my main aim point: glide, roll, rive, slide to the right. Most of you are familiar with this line. Middle chevron right there where the trunk meets the trees, and that's pretty much my aim point. I usually don't adjust it too much. If it's a big 3-wind left to right, then that will be my aim point right there. And then if it's a big 3-wind right to left, I'm going to slide to the left, and then my aim point's anywhere in there depending on what that wind is doing. But for most winds, especially this one wind right there, and then we're going to pull it down a full hyzer, and you just kind of have to get a feel for how far over you're pulling that disc. One winds, I feel very confident anytime I see a one wind on this hole, but you never know what kind of bounce you're going to get off the rock or the ice. So again, there's just always a chance you get a bad break even if you throw a good shot here. But there you go, there's the line and the pull down. We'll try it a couple more times in a one wind. So slide to the right, middle chevron right on that spot, and then just a little past full hyzer, basically to where you can't see that Wi-Fi symbol anymore on the bottom, and it's just a little farther past it. That's usually a perfect spot to stop for the one winds. You see here, usually as long as you keep this line here, you're going to end up safe. That one had a nice little roll towards the basket, and we'll get another eagle. Basically, we're not going to cover all the different one winds because you're not really adjusting much on the one winds. So we're going to cover all 6 2 winds and then all 6 3 winds. So we'll do one more one wind here, same aim point. Make sure you can't see that Wi-Fi symbol anymore. Covering it up with maybe a quarter of the disc. You're kind of sliding past that Wi-Fi symbol, but there you go. That stays safe. So there's a few examples of my main aim point and then that calm one wind pull down. Now we're going to get into the 2 winds, left to right 2 winds. So for this, I'm going to use the same aim point. I'm not adjusting my aim point at all for this left to right tailwind. All I'm doing is basically putting about a half disc more of hyzer. I just want to make sure I'm hyzering more. And again, if you're going to miss this shot at all, you want to miss to the left. This is kind of borderline, but I'm able to still keep it in bounds. Next, we'll do a 2 wind left to right, just straight left to right 2 wind. Again, same aim point, slide right, same. And then we're just going to go about 3/4 disc past that Wi-Fi symbol. I feel like, again, this is all feel, but you definitely get used to it the more you do it. Just about a half disc more hyzer than you use in a one wind for these 2 winds. And the tail or the side wind or the headwind, I'm really not adjusting that much. The only big difference is I feel like I put a little more hyzer on the headwind than I do the tailwind, just because that, for obvious reasons. So this 2 left to right headwind, same thing. I'm just going to want to put a little more hyzer on it, not a lot. And there you go. After this one, we're going to take a look at all the left to right 3 winds. Those can be very challenging. Any 3 wind on this is going to be tough, but the worst is the right to left 3 and 2 winds, just because then you can go, even if you throw a good shot, you can go super long. But for now, we're just doing left to right. So for first, we'll do the left to right tailwind. Now for these, I'm going to use the same aim point, but then I'm going to slide to the left a little like I showed you earlier. So slide right, start here, and then I'm going to adjust to the left about right there. And then from here, I'm going to put about the same hyzer as the last one, quite a bit. About 3/4 of the disc past that, the bottom of that Wi-Fi symbol is where I'm going to go for this shot. The danger here is that you just don't get left enough and you end up in the water. A lot of this spot right here is safe, as is this one. Next, we're going to take a look at a 3 straight left to right. And again, we're going to start with that same aim point and then adjust it to the left just a little bit. The only ones I adjust to the left a little bit are these 3 winds. So start right there, move it over to about right there, and then again, quite a bit of hyzer. You just, if anything, you want to put too much hyzer. You just don't want to miss to the right. Obviously, you don't want to go too far left where you hit the water, but if anything, you want to hit that snow over here on the left and at least have a birdie shot. But that one there, it's hard to even get it to the basket, so you don't have to worry about going long in that wind especially. But there you go with the left to right winds. Now we're going to get into the tough winds, the right to left. So we'll start with a, oh no, we still got one more 3 wind. So this is the toughest one to get it there. It's a 3 left to right headwind. And again, you don't have to worry about going long here. Even if you, sometimes if you get it in line with the water, it still falls short of the water. But this looks to be on a perfect line. And I'm going to have a look at the basket. So that's that 3 left to right headwind. And we're not going to pretend we're going to pretend we didn't see that throw in there. All right, here's the tough one. So we start with a 2 right to left tailwind. So I'm just not putting, basically stopping right before I start making that Wi-Fi symbol disappear. That's where I'm stopping my hyzer. In the 2 winds, I'm using the same aim point as my 1 winds and 2 winds on the other direction. So I'm not sliding left yet. I only do that for the 3 winds. So now we're going to do a straight right to left 2 wind. So slide right, same aim point as the 1 winds. And we're just stopping my hyzer just short of the end of that Wi-Fi symbol. And you basically just want to just miss this tree to the left. That one is really cutting it close. Obviously you don't want to hit that tree, but this looks to be perfect. And every once in a while you can go long with a 2 wind, especially that 2 tailwind. But for the most part, 2 winds, you don't have to worry too much about going long if you have it on a good line. It's the 3 winds that you can do that. So this is the 2 right to left headwind. Same thing, same aim point. I'm going to stop it. I'm going to maybe put a touch more hyzer just because this is a headwind, but not much. As you can see, I like barely covered that Wi-Fi symbol just because it is a headwind, so it's going to make it a little more understable. So maybe just a touch more hyzer on that headwind than I used for the other 2 for that right to left 2 wind. Now we get into the tough right to left 3 winds, the toughest wind on this hole. I make sure, if anything, I'm going to miss to the left, so I know I'm at least getting birdie. But I still do try to hit the green here. I slide to the left. I start it here just to kind of have a starting point, and then I'll adjust over to the left right there. And then again, it's much less hyzer because I'm just trying to barely miss that tree because I know that wind is going to really push it to the left. And this one, again, I'm just trying to miss left, and hopefully I get a good bounce off these rocks. Just like that. That's typically what I'm trying to do, because if I hit a good line on these big right to left 3 winds, then more often than not you're flying past the basket into the water. So honestly, if I'm running it in these big right to left 3 winds, I'm just going to be putting a little extra hyzer on it and not trying to really hit the green. So again, slide to the left, adjust to the left a little bit, and then try to just barely miss that tree. Not quite a full hyzer, and if anything, I'm missing over here to the left, and then just hoping for the best. Oftentimes you're going to bounce off here but not go too far into the water like this one does, and then I still have a look at the basket. So that's kind of best case scenario in these 3 winds, right to left. And then this last one's going to be a 3 wind right to left headwind. So if anything, same aim point. If anything, I'm just putting a little more hyzer on this one because it is a headwind. You notice a pattern in these adjustments, and it's very similar to any adjustments you're doing. Whenever I'm finding lines, I'm working on it in a 1 wind, and then I'm just kind of branching out from there. and figuring out my adjustments. The headwind, you can usually go for it, not have to worry about going long. Obviously, it's going to slow it down quite a bit, and there you go. So after doing all these and practicing, I was curious how well I would do with 10 shots. So I went ahead and ran it 10 times. I did a little better than I thought I would, so here you go. And I'm just realizing now it only shows 8 of them. I got 8 out of 10. One of those birdies you see there on the 5th shot, I'm actually counting because it was just a spit out from like 40 feet. But then I think it was the 9th shot I missed. And then the 10th shot I got. So I was 8 out of 10 with only 1 par. So this is my little spit out proof, 32 feet. So I still counted that one. So 8 out of 10 is pretty dang good. It's worth it to me. And just like other holes that you run that carry some risk, you want to practice from the drop zone. So I've tried to get good at the drop zone here because I know there's a chance I'm going to just get a bad break or have a bad shot. So for me, anything 1 tailwind or more, I throw the harp. So I aim way up, slide to the right. Where that, I'm going to go a little higher. Trying to remember here. Yeah, I think it's a middle chevron right on top of the 8, and then about a half a thing of Anheuser. And anything more than a 1 tailwind, you can get it there with the harp, and it's a very safe bid. Any other winds, I use the Worship. I like to slide right and then kind of go above this rock somewhere and put some hyzer on it. With this wind, I don't have to put a lot of hyzer on it, but I want to make sure I put hyzer on it. That way if I miss, it's going to hit that log behind there and not go in the water. So practice that drop zone if you're going to run this all the time. It can definitely save you a stroke if you can still get that birdie, even if you get a bad break on that hole. But there you go. Hopefully this helps. That's still my favorite hole in the game, and hopefully this helps you guys score well in the upcoming King of the Course Frozen Valley. As always, guys, thanks for watching me play some DGV.